Imagine a prison designed to hold the most dangerous criminals, considered escape-proof. Now, imagine two inmates defying those odds. Welcome to the Clinton Correctional Facility. Nestled in the heart of New York, this imposing structure has been a symbol of justice for over a century. Its walls, as unyielding as the resolve of those who guard it, have borne witness to countless tales of redemption and retribution. It is here, within this fortress of law and order, that our story unfolds. Enter David Sweat and Richard Matt, two men whose names would become synonymous with one of the most audacious prison escapes in American history. Sweat, a cunning tactician with a rap sheet as long as the Hudson River, was serving a life sentence without parole. On the other hand, Matt, a seasoned criminal with a penchant for art and charm, was facing a quarter-century behind bars. To the untrained eye, they were just two faces in a sea of orange jumpsuits. But beneath the surface, a storm was brewing. Sweat and Matt were not content to let their lives waste away within the confines of Clinton Correctional. They yearned for freedom, and they were willing to go to unthinkable lengths to achieve it. These two hardened criminals began to hatch an escape plan, a plan so intricate and daring it would make even the most seasoned Hollywood scriptwriter blush. It involved cutting through steel walls, navigating a labyrinth of tunnels, and outwitting a prison system believed to be foolproof. But how did these two hardened criminals manage to outwit the system? Let's delve into their daring plan. The plot didn't unfold overnight. It was a product of meticulous planning and audacious execution. Two unlikely accomplices, David Sweat and Richard Matt, began to conceive their daring escape. Key to their plot was the recruitment of an unsuspecting accomplice, Joyce Mitchell, a prison worker ensnared in their web of deceit. Their plan was as audacious as it was intricate. Using tools smuggled in, they began the arduous task of cutting through steel walls, an endeavor that required both patience and precision. They navigated a labyrinth of tunnels, a subterranean world beneath the prison's imposing facade. Their progress was painstakingly slow, each inch forward a victory against their steel adversary. To avoid detection, they employed deceptive tactics. Every day, they would replace the cutout wall with a painted cardboard, an ingenious camouflage that fooled the guards. Their audacity was matched only by their cunning. With their plan set and tools in place, they were ready to make their move. On the night of June 6, 2015, the unthinkable happened. The hushed whispers of the prison fell silent. The guards' footsteps echoed in the deserted corridors, and the only sound that pierced the eerie silence was the persistent scratching of metal against metal. In the heart of this fortress, two men, David Sweat and Richard Matt, were executing a plan that seemed as if it was borrowed from the pages of an adventure novel. Armed with tools smuggled into the prison, they began their daring escape by cutting through the steel wall of their cell. The steel, a barrier meant to keep them confined, was slowly but surely giving way to their determination and audacity. Once the steel wall was defeated, a labyrinth of tunnels lay ahead of them. These tunnels, originally designed for maintenance and repair work, were now the pathway to their freedom. The air was filled with a mix of dampness and dust, a stark contrast to the sterile confines of their cell. They crawled through these narrow, claustrophobic spaces, every move bringing them closer to the world outside. And then, the final hurdle, a manhole cover, a literal gateway to the world beyond the prison walls. This was not an easy feat, as manhole covers are heavy and unwieldy, but the lure of freedom gave them strength, each grunt and heave echoing the intensity of their resolve. Slowly the cover gave way, and they emerged from the darkness into the cool night air. In the quiet of the night, under the indifferent gaze of the moon, they looked around. There were no guards, no alarms, just the stillness of the night. They were outside the prison, standing on a road that led away from the life they knew. The prison, a fortress designed to keep the most dangerous men confined, had been defeated. They were out. The seemingly escape-proof prison had been defeated. Their escape sent shockwaves through the nation, sparking one of the most extensive manhunts in New York history. The morning following the daring escape, prison guards were greeted by the chilling sight of two empty cells. David Sweat and Richard Matt, two convicted murderers, were no longer confined within the stern walls of the Clinton Correctional Facility. As the reality of the situation sank in, the prison was locked down, and law enforcement agencies were alerted. The quiet town of Dannemora, usually known for its serene beauty, was now the epicenter of an intense manhunt. State troopers, federal agents, and local law enforcement joined forces in a desperate bid to recapture the escapees. The discovery of the meticulously cut steel walls and the tunnels etched a vivid image of the audacious escape plan. It was a testament to the patience, precision, and determination of Sweat and Matt. The manhunt wasn't just about recapturing the escapees, it was also about piecing together the puzzle of their escape, retracing their steps, and tightening the security loopholes that had allowed such a daring breakout. Meanwhile, the media was in a frenzy. News outlets across the country reported relentlessly on the escape, keeping the public on tenterhooks. Every development, every lead, every setback was broadcast and dissected. The faces of Sweat and Matt were plastered on every television screen, newspaper, and billboard, making them the most wanted men in America. The public was gripped by a mix of fear and fascination. Fear, because two dangerous criminals were on the loose, and fascination, because their escape was something straight out of a Hollywood movie. It was a real-life drama unfolding right before their eyes, and the world was watching with bated breath. For 23 days, Sweat and Matt eluded law enforcement, but their freedom was short-lived. The aftermath of their daring escape was a testament to the resourcefulness of these two men, but it also highlighted the flaws in the prison system that allowed such a breakout to occur. The manhunt, media frenzy, and public fear were all part of the chaotic aftermath that followed their escape. Their run from the law ended as dramatically as it began. In a dramatic standoff, Richard Matt met his end through the crosshairs of a tactical team's scope. Resisting arrest, he was shot and killed in a forest near Malone, New York. David Sweat, however, had a different fate. After 22 days on the run, he was spotted by a state trooper near the Canadian border. Instead of surrendering, Sweat made a desperate dash for freedom. But the trooper was faster, taking him down with 2 shots. Sweat survived, was captured, and returned to the prison system he'd so daringly escaped from. Their audacious breakout had far-reaching consequences, not just for the two men, but for the entire prison system. An extensive investigation into the Clinton Correctional Facility followed their escape. It revealed a series of shocking security lapses, including the fact that the pair had been able to cut through steel walls and navigate a maze of tunnels undetected. It also unveiled a culture of complacency within the prison, with frequent security checks being skipped and alarm systems routinely ignored. In response to these findings, sweeping changes were implemented. Stricter protocols for inmate counts and cell checks were enforced. Security equipment was upgraded and staff training was intensified. The prison's leadership underwent a complete overhaul, and several employees faced criminal charges for their role in the escape. But beyond the physical changes, the breakout shook the very foundations of the prison system's belief in its own invulnerability. It reminded everyone that even the most secure facilities are not immune to the cunning and determination of those desperate to escape. Their audacious escape serves as a stark reminder of the lengths some will go to reclaim their freedom, and the constant need for vigilance in our prison systems. And so, the story of Sweat and Matt's daring escape ends not with a triumphant dash for freedom, but with a sobering lesson in humility and vigilance for the prison system.